So, when a nation wins its independence, you're probably thinking revolution, right? Out with the old, in with the new. But what if a country fought for its freedom just to keep things pretty much the same? Well, today we're going to dive into the really surprising story of the first Mexican Empire.
So, picture this. It's 1821. After this long, hard struggle, Mexico finally breaks away from Spain. And it's not just a new country, it is an absolute giant on the world stage. This new nation was massive. It stretched all the way from modern-day California way down into Central America. Now, that staggering size, that meant incredible potential, for sure. But it also created this huge challenge. How do you even begin to govern a territory that vast?
Okay, so with all this newfound freedom, Mexico's leaders basically had a blank slate, a clean canvas. They could have created this bold new republic, a government of the people, by the people. So that brings us to the central puzzle we're going to try and solve today. With all the options in the world, why on earth did they choose a king? And to answer that, we really have to get into it and understand that what everyone expected from independence and what actually happened, well, they were two completely different things.
The expectation for pretty much any newly independent nation at the time was a revolutionary republic. But the reality for Mexico? Whoa, it couldn't have been more different. They went with a conservative monarchy, a system that's literally designed to preserve tradition and stability, not to embrace all that radical change we usually connect with independence movements.
So where did this whole monarchy idea even come from? It wasn't just made up on the spot, not at all. The whole thing was actually laid out in this really crucial document that basically served as the blueprint for the entire nation. And that blueprint was called the Plan of Iguala. It was built on what they called the three guarantees. So, first up, unity. This was all about preventing the different social classes from turning on each other. Second, religion. They made Catholicism the official faith, which was a big move to protect the church's power. And third, you guessed it, monarchy, to make sure there was a steady hand on the wheel. When you look at it, this wasn't really a plan for change at all. It was a plan for control. But hold on, they weren't aiming for some all-powerful dictator. The plan was very specific. It called for a constitutional monarchy. That's a system where the king or emperor actually has to follow a set of laws, a constitution. Their power isn't absolute. And for the leaders, this probably seemed like the perfect compromise, right? You get the stability of a king, but you also get the security of written laws. Okay, so they've decided on a monarchy, but the plan wasn't just for any old monarch. Oh no, they had a very, very specific type of candidate in mind. And this whole idea was made official in the Treaty of Cordoba. That's the document that formally recognized Mexico's independence. It actually said, black and white, that Mexico would offer the throne to a member of a European royal family, probably someone from Spain. Think about that. They wanted to literally import a king to lead their brand new nation. So what was this all about? Well, ultimately, it really just came down to a fear of the unknown. You have to remember, leaders were probably looking at the recent chaos of the French Revolution and thinking, no way. A republic seems like this risky, totally uncertain experiment. A traditional monarchy, on the other hand, that felt safe. It was a proven model for keeping society in order. And for the powerful elites, that stability was absolutely priority number one. But, as you might have guessed, their grand plan to just go out and find a European king, it hit a major snag. And that little problem created a power vacuum that someone much, much closer to home was more than ready to fill. Because as it turned out, no European royal wanted the job. Can you believe it? The offer was flat out rejected. So this created this completely unexpected opportunity for a really charismatic and ambitious military leader named Agustín de Iturbide, who, by the way, had been a huge figure in winning independence in the first place. And this is where you really see where the power in Mexico lay at the time. See, Iturbide didn't win a popular election or anything like that. Instead, he got the backing of the three most powerful pillars of society: the army, the Catholic Church, and of course, the wealthy elites, all of whom were pretty terrified that a republic might threaten their power and their status. So let's just break that down. In a republic, a leader is supposed to be chosen by the people, right? But Iturbide, he was basically pushed into power by the establishment. His entire rise was a strategic move by the powerful to make sure that even with independence from Spain, the old social order would stay exactly where it was. And just like that, he was crowned Emperor Augustine I in 1822. Okay, so let's bring this all back around and answer that first big question we had. Why on earth did a newly independent nation choose a king? It's because for Mexico's leaders, independence was never about revolution. Not really. It was about preservation. Yeah, they got their separation from Spain, but they deliberately kept all the old systems they were comfortable with. A monarchy for leadership, a powerful state religion to keep everyone in line, and of course, a preserved social hierarchy where the elites stayed right on top.
The first Mexican empire is just such a fascinating case study. It proves that winning independence doesn't automatically mean you get this dramatic revolutionary change. Sometimes, like we've seen here, it's really just a way for a nation's elite to grab the reins of control, all while holding on tight to the structures of the past.
We tend to think of independence as this one big moment of liberation, a clean break. But this story really shows it's so much more complex than that. And it kind of forces us to ask a bigger question, doesn't it? What does freedom really mean when a new nation is born? Thanks for digging into this with me.